Ladies and gentlemen, I'm always going to keep you updated, and this one is a big one. Several WWE superstars have shockingly been released, and we're going to talk about it right here on the Ango Show. So this clearly wasn't the news that we were expecting. It's 11:15 p.m., and WWE has made several shocking releases. Fightful Select has first reported that Sonia DeVille has been released from the company. Now, Sonia DeVille is a quite shocking one, part of Pure Fusion Collective. You kind of have to wonder, how did the ball get dropped with that? Sonia DeVille has obviously been with the company for a long time. It seems like she never really got to that next level within the WWE. So I think this is a very interesting one, but trust me, there is more. WWE has also released the authors of Pain. Akam and Razar have been released from the company. This is also very interesting because they were part of the Final Testament. They were also part of the tag team division. Quite frankly, WWE didn't do much with them since returning to the company. Obviously, they were aligned with Karrion Kross and Scarlett, but nothing came to fruition with that, which is, who knows, really the reason for this. Maybe WWE didn't see that they were developing into something that can draw money. I don't know. With that being said, WWE also released the Hall of Famer, Paul Ellering, which unfortunately, just by association, it kind of makes sense, right? I mean, he's part of the Final Testament. He was part of AOP. So far, Karrion Kross and Scarlett are safe, but obviously that goes to tell you that WWE is done with the Final Testament. I will say just a quick note on that regard. I'm totally okay with WWE, in this particular situation, just focusing on Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I think Karrion Kross is going to be a major player. So obviously, I don't listen. You don't want anybody to lose their job, but this is one of those situations where this guy has a lot of promise. You don't want to see him get cut. Cedric Alexander has also been released from the WWE. He came out with his own statement. He has been released after 8.5 years with the company. Quite frankly, Cedric Alexander probably could go to AEW and join the Hurt Business or the Hurt Syndicate. I don't know if that is something that is intriguing to me. I don't think that's something I necessarily want to see. I think Cedric Alexander should be a great singles competitor. I also think you have to look at Big Swole and her exit from AEW. I think a lot of people will be judging Cedric Alexander if he were to choose to go to AEW based on, the comments that Tony Khan made about his wife years ago. So Cedric Alexander, obviously a big blow. They definitely could have done more with him, especially in NXT. I felt like they kind of dropped the ball. That's obviously a strange situation. And then one that's very bothersome to me is Blair Davenport. She's been released by the company. You guys might remember her, formerly known as B. Priestley. I never understood what happened here. Blair Davenport gets called up to the main roster. They utilize her a little bit, and then they didn't do anything after that, which was a very questionable decision. Quite frankly, like that's questionable. Like, she's extremely talented, and it's just really weird. So who knows? Obviously, with these releases, you don't really want to see it. You don't want to see people lose their jobs. Obviously, WWE recently released, Duke Hudson. So that's obviously, I think the safe expectation here that everybody can have is that WWE isn't going to spend the money on talent that they don't feel like they can invest in. They might call it budget cuts or whatever, but I think WWE has a very strategic plan of who they want to push and how they want to push them. And then I think they look at a list of categories as to whether or not that person fits the mold. And I think with WWE, some of these decisions are, pretty valid. Some of them aren't, like, for example, Blair Davenport, I don't feel like she's ever been given the opportunity. Cedric Alexander, same thing, man. Like, certain talent just don't get an opportunity. And listen, Sonia DeVille, technically she actually isn't released. They're just not re-signing her. But Sonia DeVille's done a lot of things in the WWE. At some point, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird situation. You're not advancing her up the card in any point. and it sucks. It really sucks. And I think for WWE, this is how they do things. Business is business to them. Obviously, that's how they operate. Now, obviously, when you look at AOP, WWE shouldn't really be cutting tag teams. But I can fairly say, like, the Final Testament thing is beneath Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross needs to get away from that. So, obviously, they can do that here. Does it really have to come at the expense of AOP being released? I don't know. Tag team wrestling really isn't a big thing for WWE, and it's not a big focal point, and I think that part of it really sucks. And that makes it really unfortunate. So who knows what to expect moving forward. Obviously, more releases can come. I think a lot of people are shocked by this news. I'm definitely not shocked. Quite frankly, I think WWE and AEW will see more of this kind of thing. They both have loaded rosters, man. They have loaded rosters. Guys like AOP, for example, they were released before. I interviewed them on this channel, and there was talks of them having interest from other companies, and it never happened. So you have to wonder if some of these people being released can go to another company. I think that's a big thing. Can they go to another company? And I always say TNA is a great opportunity for people to go and show WWE what you're missing. If Blair Davenport wants to stay in America, if Blair Davenport wants to continue working, TNA probably would be a logical place. Her husband works in NXT. So, she could technically stay in the US with her husband, and she could go to TNA and be a champion, and maybe that's enough for WWE to figure things out. I don't know how that works. But it's a strange situation, because some of these people could go to TNA. Some of these people technically could go to AEW, but AEW can't sign everybody. AEW already has an issue where they're not utilizing talent, and I think that has to be said. So, I don't know. Sometimes people are they're cut loose, and I don't agree with it. Blair Davenport's a great example. I think Blair Davenport's probably the best example, and Cedric Alexander, Cedric Alexander is tough. There's a lot of sources within AEW that are expecting, for Cedric to come into the company now. Do we really want to see that? Cedric Alexander is an incredible performer. Why not just have him go and let him do the Continental Classic? Let him go and do singles matches. I don't know. But he's just going to be another guy. And that's the issue. You go into AEW, you're just another talent. So definitely strange booking. Definitely strange decisions from WWE. I don't support it. I don't advocate for people losing their jobs, but several WWE stars have been released tonight. It's really unfortunate. It sucks. But as always, I'll keep you guys updated with more breaking news.